Hey everybody, you are listening to Gold Sounds. I'm your host, Javier Romero, and this is episode number 10. And if you're hearing the wind right now, that's because I'm walking around. And I thought, well, let me kill two birds with one stone and do this intro real quick. So here it is. My guest today is pretty exciting. It's my first guest that I don't really know that well. Her name is Peri Pakroo, and she runs a magazine called Pyragraph, which is really cool. And she's also a local musician here in Albuquerque, and a really lovely, interesting lady, and it's really nice to sit and meet with her for the first time and chat with her and just kind of nerd out on the Beatles in particular and music in general. And it was a really great talk, and I was really glad to have her. So thanks so much for listening. If you enjoy this podcast, please share with your friends on Facebook or Twitter or whatever you use to share things, and comment, all that jazz. Just tell me how I'm doing. Anyway, it's really windy now, so I should probably stop this. Anyway, thanks. That's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
But the product was great. Do you want a little bit?
I would love a little
Great.
nip.
The actual product and working with the people that I worked with was awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of the end result. And so, there it sits now. Well, it's not just sitting. That's the thing.
Right. You're still working on it.
I'm updating. I'm adding enough content to keep it feel alive.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and maybe
once or twice a week, and I'm, trying to milk more of my partners.
Yeah.
Which, if you know anybody that needs a channel, it's art and creativity related.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
But I'm just not paying for content anymore. I used to. We paid all our contributors before.
What was it on a article? Or?
It was $25 a post.
Yeah.
Which is not a lot, but as you know, most online publications were like, oh, it's all for the exposure. And I never wanted to do that. And the bar was low for the work involved. It was tell a story, 500 words, 600 words.
Yeah.
It wasn't go research, go interview somebody, it wasn't like do a feature or do a thing. It was share something about like your experience podcasting and what and share something entertaining and practical. Yeah. So it was pretty easy, and so I paid, but now I don't anymore. So now I'm just like I'm reposting stuff that other people have posted elsewhere. Yeah. Anyway.
And maybe it just needs a breather, and then some other epiphany will happen, and
exactly.
Exactly,
right. Cool.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Good to meet in person.
Yeah. Let me just make sure the levels are sufficient. Let's see.
Now, do I need to be listening to myself, or
it's up to you, really?
Because I know when I'm in your position, I need them, but my guests usually don't.
Yeah.
But I can.
It always sounds cool though, like being in the headphones. You sound a little more authoritative somehow. Like
right.
I don't know. It's pretty cool.
Right. Well, and not to mention, then you don't have like the drift where I'm like to the guest and like get, and they're like over here and they're over here. So I'm sure I do those things too if I'm not wearing the thing.
Yeah, but I think also that's what I enjoy about some podcasts is you kind of get a sense for the place, you feel like a fly on the wall a little bit. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's pretty fun. So everyone, this is my guest, Peri Pakroo. And am I saying it right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
And she runs a really awesome website called Pyragraph and is a musician and a writer. And I've always wanted to talk to you. So
yay.
We did it.
We did.
Yeah.
A little scheduling. We had some scheduling challenges and we pushed through.
Yeah. And she was really nice to bring a little Jameson to lubricate their vocal cords.
Exactly.
And
it's a practical purpose. It's a tool.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
No, it's great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Peri, I don't know anything about you. Are you from Albuquerque originally? Like, what's your story?
No, I'm not from here originally. I'm from Wisconsin. I grew up in Milwaukee.
Oh, wow.
Went to college at Madison.
Uh-huh.
And then moved to Seattle, excuse me, after college. Helped start up an alternative weekly called The Stranger.
Wow, you helped start
My
The Stranger?
boyfriend at the time did.
No way.
Yeah, and so I was on the startup team. I was their second editor, I think.
Wow.
And did that for a while, and then moved to New Mexico for law school, actually. That's how I first came to Albuquerque for UNM Law.
Wow.
Yeah. They had an environmental law program, and at the time I was, into those issues, and I still love the earth.
Yeah.
But environmental law turned out to be a really boring administrative sort of law, and I turned out to be really more interested in criminal law and constitutional rights and stuff like that, and that was the clerking I ended up doing. But even so, I still didn't want to practice law, and I got back into publishing after law school, and I worked at Nolo Press for several years, and I still write for them. So, I mean, it's really been a long run now. I was an employee there from 95 to 2000, and then that was I lived in San Francisco, worked in Berkeley.
Wow.
Their office was in Berkeley. And then the urban fatigue finally pushed me and my husband now. We met there. We weren't married quite yet, and we moved to New Mexico, and I had been here for law school. Really liked it, talked my husband Turtle into checking it out, and he thought it was awesome. Cool. And so we've been back here since 2000.
That's amazing.
I know, it seems like, I was just saying, I just saw an old friend the other day I haven't seen in many, many years. I'm like, I feel like a person who's moved around a lot, but now I've been here for 17 years, so.
Yeah, that's substantial.
It's a trip.
That's some people's whole lives.
Yeah, right.
Maybe juniors or seniors in high school.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
So I've been here ever since. So, and I think I maybe glossed over. I was at law school here, graduated, and then moved to San Francisco for that legal job with Nolo, the legal writing, and then moved back. And I had been familiar with New Mexico because of law school.
Yeah.
And I dragged Turtle along, but he loved it right away.
That's great.
Yeah.
I always love hearing those kind of stories, just maybe because I'm from, Santa Fe originally, but I've been here maybe longer now than Santa Fe. So I love hearing that people love it here. Yeah. Because I think we hear so many negative things a lot because we struggle in New Mexico. It's a poor state, right? But we're rich in culture and rich in scenery for sure. And,
and diversity and I hate the word tolerance. I'm trying to find a better word, but it's like such an inclusive, diverse community. I really like that about here.
Yeah, yeah.
So
it's pretty wonderful, and lovely, and I feel like I'm pretty lucky that I got to grow up here for one.
I bet.
And stuck around, even though sometimes I get a little wanderlust.
Sure.
Sometimes I feel a little like, man, I really maybe should have moved to Seattle for a little bit, but oh well.
I enjoyed those times living there, but the nice thing, of course, about living here is the cost of living is low, so you can travel. Yeah. When we lived, Turtle and I, even before we had kids, we have 2 kids now, 11 and 7. So, but before we had kids, even it was difficult when we lived in San Francisco to ever travel. We were working. We had to work like full-time jobs. Yeah. And here, it's easier to get by. Yeah. And I've been self-employed here for, pretty much the whole time I've been here. Wow. And we're able to travel. It's so great. And so you kind of get the best of both worlds. Right. And then you go to cool places, then you come back, it's like, oh, it's so chill here. And it's so pretty. Did you see the sunset tonight? It was like so I was driving over here. Everybody had their cameras out. It was pretty funny. It's like another one.
Yeah, I kind of wonder, I wonder if there's some app somewhere that just geolocates Instagram and can just show us all the different sunset pictures. Yeah. Right? Maybe I'll write it. Maybe someone
There you
will
go.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we really dig it. And it's a nice place for our kids to grow up. And cool. Yeah. That's great. So that's, I guess, in a nutshell, how I ended up here. Yeah. Yeah. And you're also a musician? Yeah. I mean, I'm like a real hack musician, but I keep playing, and, I play out like semi-regularly. I don't really have a real band, although it's exciting because a group of people that I've played with on and off for a while, we just did a little fundraiser. Someone canceled, and this is the classic thing. Somebody cancels, and then they ask me, and I'll be like, okay. And so I'll pull together like a group of usual suspects, and it's often a different group, but there's like there's some continuity. I call it Peri and the FAQs, just so I have some sort of a band name, right? And it's a rotating cast. Anyway, this little crew that came together for this, it was a fundraiser for New Day, who helps homeless youth. It was really cool. Yeah, over in Country Club Plaza. And anyway, it just kind of clicked maybe in a tighter way than in others. So I think we're going to try to keep playing and try to get some more shows. So I don't know. Do I have a band? Maybe I do. I'm not sure.
It sounds like you're 90% there.
Yeah.
Is there like a statute of limitations? Is it sort of like some states when you're together for 7 years, you're married? Maybe it's like after 3 gigs.
Common law band.
Yeah.
I love it. No, maybe. Sometimes it's just easier to be in someone else's band. Sometimes I just wish somebody just tell me what to play, give me a part.
Yeah.
And I do projects like that with people. So I don't know. Now this Peri and the FAQs is on the rise again.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's
so
great to hear.
We'll see. Yeah. But I just really, I need to, I want to play. So you got to make it happen, right?
And is it originals mostly?
I would say, depending on what, like the other day it was a 2-hour set. So I would say it was less than half originals, but I've got, close to an hour set of originals.
Awesome.
And then we fill it in with like, Americana, country, old country, Hank Williams, that kind of stuff, the covers.
Yeah.
Or, even we played an REO Speedwagon cover the other day. It was awesome. Yeah.
What song?
Take It on the Run.
That's a great song.
It's a great, great song. And, you play these songs at home and, I'm 48 years old. I'm a kid of the 80s. And then the band came over and I'm like, you guys, did you indulge me? And everybody wanted to play it. So I'm like, right on. We're going to run with this. So we did.
Take it on the run.
We did. We did. It was, I think the crowd liked it. It was fun.
I love that song.
Yeah, it's a great one.
The intro is so clever and just great.
Yeah.
They really did it.
So I think we're adding that to the set.
Sweet.
Yeah. So yeah, I do play. Do you play? I see there are guitars in here.
Yeah, we just me and my very old and dear friend Amado, we grew up in Santa Fe. We went to elementary school together actually. We're playing up in Santa Fe tomorrow.
Oh, sweet.
We always just sort of like just kind of wing it. We just sort of meet the day before and just try to remember that we know how to play.
That's what we do.
Yeah. It's very exciting.
Yeah, right.
And it's great. It's pretty victorious when you actually pull it off. You're like, oh yeah, this is kind of like riding a bike.
Do you have a band name?
We're calling ourselves Palace Youth.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've seen you guys on Facebook and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, now I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
Good deal.
And it's really fun. I mean, we've done things in the past. He's kind of stepped in and played in previous bands that I had going, and then we had a fun like Beatles cover project.
Yeah.
That was really because we're both like just nerdy about the Beatles.
How can you not be? Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. It was called Maxwell, Edison, and the Mojo Filters was the name of the band.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, hopefully you'll play in Albuquerque soon.
Yeah. We have something in late September at Marble, and you're welcome.
Oh, sweet. The downtown one?
Up. I think we're still
West
paying our
side or
dues.
east side?
East side.
East side. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
We did
Because I
west
live really
side.
close to the downtown one.
Yeah.
I have not been to the west side one yet. I've been to the east side one.
It's pretty cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
So all these tap rooms, they're like going for it.
Yeah.
There's these beautiful, and they're designing their spaces so nicely, and it's
Totally.
like, it's salad days for tap room culture.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty.
Is that the right expression? I don't know.
Maybe.
Salad. I
Salad
don't know.
days.
It's like a weird mix.
I like
But
it.
it's really nice though. I mean, like each and
Yeah.
every one.
They have their unique feel.
Yeah.
And they're like bow and arrow. I think is one that comes to mind.
It's beautiful.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
Gorgeous.
sleek modern take on the German beer hall.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that place a lot too.
And it's almost like they had Sunset Magazine in mind, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Like just really beautifully, just the design, everything about it. I really love it.
Totally.
we're so lucky.
We are. Yeah. And what part of town do you live in?
I live up in Nob Hill.
Okay. Oh, so you're close.
Yeah, sort of near Tyder Park.
Sure. That's really nice.
Have you ever been to the Tasty Tuesday?
Yeah, I've played there a couple times, actually.
Awesome.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Sage, do you know Sage Harrington?
Yeah.
So she's been just a great friend and a part of my life for several years now. She's babysat my kids. She was managing editor of Pyragraph for a long time. Anyway, she was playing there, like she had kind of that regular gig for a long time.
That.
Yeah, and then when she couldn't make it, she would ask friends, and so a couple times I filled in, and
sweet.
That's a fun thing. Is it summer? Does it end at the end of summer?
It's still happening.
It's still happening, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we still have like 2 more months of great weather.
At least, yeah. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you're right there.
Yeah, like honestly, like right there on the corner.
Nice.
So it's really, really lovely. I mean, we definitely have the smallest house in the entire neighborhood, but I mean, it's location.
That's it.
So.
Right. You want to get in the hood.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I want to know about your life, and I want to know like your taste and stuff.
Sure.
So take us down memory lane. Let's. I want to know sort of the first song you remember loving when maybe you were a child or something. That really.
Yeah. I was thinking about this a lot. You gave me these questions about, and that particular one, and really all I kept thinking about was the Beatles. Yeah. Because that was, okay, so I told you I'm 48. Am I 40? Yeah, I am. And, so I would tape stuff off the radio. I had a little tape recorder, with like a little, they had a little microphone on a springy cable, and I would, people did this. And so I would tape songs off the radio and make these mixtapes, and it was like Beatles. It was a ton of Beatles, and so I was trying to think what were the ones, and the one that I think that just I remember being like, whoa, was A Day in the Life from Sgt. Pepper. That one just like all these. There was so many catchy ones. This is like Casey Kasem era with like and which I don't even know how he picked those. I mean, that wasn't a real poll, was it? Or is it? That was just like.
Was it Billboard?
It was. Yeah. Well, he would do top. I guess maybe it was Billboard, so maybe it was real. Anyway, but then he would always do these old. There was so much Beatles. I remember that, but those clearly weren't on the charts at the time. So I don't know where. What kind of. But it was a lot of Casey Kasem and poppy Beatles. Like I Want to Hold Your Hand. I love those too. I mean, those were great. But then the one that I remember just probably stopped me in my tracks was like, Jaw Drop was A Day in the Life.
Right.
And so that one, I remember that, and just going through really years of being addicted to the Beatles and getting records and listening to them in the basement.
Favorite Beatle?
Well, musically, I've always really loved John Lennon, and then you get older and you hear a little bit more about his personality. And it's like, oh, geez, was he like a misogynist? It's kind of difficult. Yeah. I really love him musically, and and he also did amazing piece work and stuff like that. And his personal life, I don't really know. It doesn't sound like it was all peaches and cream. But then in the, since then also, I mean, I love them all, and they're all such accomplished musicians. And Paul McCartney, it's like so amazing. Right. And Wings is so amazing. And like the production and the way those songs, the songwriting and the production and how they're constructed is just kind of mind blowing. And so I have, maybe back then I might have been like, oh, Paul's just the stupid cute one. Now I actually really, they all are very lovable. But John was the one. And I remember, when he was murdered, and that was just so awful. I remember my mom came in and like told me, and it was really, and they were upset. Of course, they were. I was a kid. I was like 10 or something.
Right. How did you feel? Like, what was your reaction?
I was so angry. I still have probably, if I looked in boxes in my parents' basement, the Time magazine cover. I shit you not. I like scratched the face of Mark David Chapman. He was on the cover. Why did they put him on the cover? Why? Right? Whoops! I just knocked the mic. See, I'm getting upset. Why did they put him on? But I remember I like scratched. I was so so upset. I was really, really upset. Like I couldn't believe it. Yeah. Because this was when I was in such a Beatles phase too.
Sure. God.
That sucked. Ugh. That sucked. So,
what is the feeling that you get now, or that maybe you can even describe, like the first time you took notice, like you heard it, and you were just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like this, like what was it, like what were your? Because I know how it makes me feel. I feel like
it's heavy. It's a
Yeah.
heavy song. You feel like somehow like the weight of.
Yes.
I can't even describe it, but there are times I get like weepy.
Yeah.
Just like listening
Yeah.
to it, you know. And
Well, it just was so, I don't know at the time when I was a kid, it probably wasn't played that much on the, more of the kind of the pop.
Yeah.
Beatles songs were more typical. And then, then you dig deeper. And of course, we didn't have the internet. So you dig through, I don't know how I
anything
found.
you could find. In the
Yeah, right.
library,
I don't
maybe,
really,
or-
maybe. I think I checked out records at the library and stuff like that. Yeah. And it just was so different. And it had so much more heaviness and weight to it. And then just all the sounds and the discordant, like wall of sound coming at you. It felt like, wow, it felt like serious and meaningful.
Yeah.
I mean, it was maybe like some of the first really serious, meaningful music that I remember.
Sure.
Like, wow,
It's like, is this adulthood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
like this is real shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess the feeling would be just like kind of a little bit of awe and like stopping and like, whoa,
Yeah.
like what are they talking about? He blew his mind out in a car, like,
Yeah. What does that mean? Yeah. I mean.
Yeah.
Is there a favorite section or stanza that maybe?
The transitions just would
Yeah.
blow me. Those transitions are so cool, and the building and the dynamics, and then and then transitioning to like a totally different tone and tempo and feel.
Sure.
That it just was so impressive to like a whatever probably 10, 11-year-old is my memory at the time.
I think what strikes me just thinking about it is just how the John parts are definitely John, and the Paul
Right.
bridge is super Paul.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Very clever how they kind of combined these maybe two disparate things. In
Right.
This, amazing.
You know
piece,
what? That makes me want to look up like the story of the recording. That's the cool thing about one of the many cool things about the internet. Like, I remember looking up the story of the recording of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it was
I know
just, it was so, I can't remember it to like recount it to you, but it was fascinating. It was like it's a story in and of itself, not just the songwriting. It was like a Wikipedia thing that I read, and then I read a couple other things, but it was like the songwriting itself was its own, but then the recording. And that makes me want to look up this because, the Sgt. Pepper is 50 years old, right? There's
That's
been
right.
a number of
The
kind of
anniversary was recent.
There have been some cool kind of documentaries, like I heard on Fresh Air. Terry Gross was interviewing. Oh, it was so cool. It was the son of George Martin.
That's right.
And he, was sitting
Giles, right?
I can't remember the name. I was driving. This was during my annual Midwestern road trip.
Oh, cool.
And then we lost the end of it. I was so bummed. Yeah, we were traveling, and then it was like getting fuzzier and fuzzier. I'm like, what are you? But he was talking about being a teenager sitting in the, in the booth. Yeah, being present, watching over his dad's shoulder while he was producing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Anyway, so what was I saying about Sgt. Pepper and? No, I can't remember the point I was making about it being the 50th anniversary and about the recording. I know what it was just that because of these documentaries that have come out and other things that I've read and heard, just a renewed appreciation for the very, very analog recording methods that
the clever,
yeah, and just to hear people talk about it in real detail, you're just like, whoa, it was different, but to hear about how ambitious they were.
And that was all 4 tracks still.
Right, exactly.
Jeez.
Right. So that was fascinating.
What do you think about the new mix? Have you listened to the...
I haven't.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't.
You really should.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
Okay, I will.
Someone described it as seeing your favorite movie, and maybe it was sort of like a bad sort of cut, like it was like scratchy or something.
Right.
And then just seeing like this full Technicolor, like beautiful print of your favorite movie.
Right.
That's how it is. It's
okay.
amazing.
I have to.
There are parts that my favorite thing is even just the beginning, like the first Sgt. Pepper song, like the introduction.
Yeah.
And the chorus, you don't I remember I never really noticed like Ringo's playing for that song,
Right.
maybe in particular.
Sure.
But in that chorus, holy moly, is he like?
It
'cause
just comes out at
it
you.
just comes out, and he's just laying
listen.
into his kick drum. It's incredible. That's all I have to say. I mean, I'm actually kind of envious that you haven't heard it yet.
Oh,
because
awesome! Right.
It was
Cool.
visceral. I was here just working, and I was just amazed.
I'm slow on the draw to like download new stuff, so I'm glad you're giving me motivation to go and download it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear your
Yeah.
take.
Sweet.
Yeah. Well, do you want to hear Day in the Life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And we can talk over it too.
That
start
sounds
out.
great.
Yeah. So let's find it real quick.
Cool. I should have sent you my songs.
Oh no. It's
Oh,
not a big
okay.
deal. We've got
Okay.
it all here.
Good.
The power of the internet.
No, right?
Let's see. Well, you know what? Are you ready to hear the new mix of Day in the
Yeah.
Life?
Fuck
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Can I swear in this podcast?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I read the news today, oh boy, about a lucky man who made the grade. And though the news was rather sad, well, I just had to laugh. I saw the photograph. He blew his mind out in a car. He didn't notice that the lights had changed. A crowd of people stood and stared. They'd seen his face before. Nobody was really sure if he was from the House of Lords. I saw a film today, oh boy. The English army had just won the war. A crowd of people turned away.
I keep having
But
thoughts.
I just had to look. Having read the book, I'd love to tell you.
Woke up, fell out of bed, dragged a comb across my head. Found the way downstairs and drank a cup. And looking up, I noticed I was late. Found my coat and grabbed my hat. Made the bus in seconds flat. Found my way upstairs and had a smoke. And somebody spoke and I went into a dream.
I
That part always gets me. I was a little bit choked up at the end.
It's that kind of song.
Yeah. I don't know why.
It's fun to listen to it too, like thinking about kind of channeling my 10-year-old
Yeah.
self. Like, wow, it's like, that's a song.
Yeah. I think I remember my aunt, somehow we got that tape, and I was probably about 10 or 11 when we got Sgt. Pepper's in the house. And I had this little, for some reason, Time Life was giving out little cassette boom boxes.
Right.
And so I just had this little boom box, and that's how I would listen. And it was cool because it would give you the left and right channel.
Oh, right.
So it was cool just to hear how things were separated, because weirdly, like, and I've only heard this with Beatles music and maybe Beach Boys, but mostly Beatles. Like, they're really into just hard panning very important things, like actual vocals, instead of keeping them in the center. So it was cool to sort of hear how they were mixing.
Totally.
Things, you know?
Well, just listening to it now, hearing the kind of the different channels, like, oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, like the piano fade. And then
Yes, exactly.
The John sections. Coming in and out, and maybe being panned.
I can't wait to get the remix now. Okay, and not to mention my daughter's 11, so it's time. It's time, right?
Yeah. What is she into? Is she a music fan?
She is. She is a music fan, and she's she's still kind of, the kids get in the car and they want to listen to stupid pop radio.
Like 103.3, like top
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know it. How you have kids, right?
I have a daughter.
You have a daughter. How old is she?
She's 8.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah.
103.3, Mom. But she's also bridged into other cool music. She likes David Bowie. She loves the Beatles.
Awesome.
And so for a while we were listening to 94.5, that 80s channel.
Oh, yeah.
But they would play not just 80s. They would play some oldies. And now we listen to 92.9.
Oh, I don't know this one.
Well, it's sadly it's not super right-wing radio, but there's like a lot of gun shop commercials and like Second Amendment moments. Yeah, it's kind of too bad, but it's not extreme. Sure. Anyway, they play a lot of oldies, and there's a lot of Beatles. In fact, they played like Beatles 4 at 4. They play 4 Beatles songs at 4 o'clock, and they play like 3 Elvis songs at 3. It's pretty cool. And my kids are into it. So she loves it, and they actually have developed, both my kids have developed, they kind of dig the old music that awesome. I and Turtle, my husband, love. So anyway, so she's into both, but I think it feels like she's bridging out of the sugar pop.
Out of the pop, yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the perfect time in your life to do that. I think. I mean, I definitely did that when, between 5th and 7th grade.
Yeah.
It slowly increments into your own
right?
taste.
Yep.
I'd say.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
What are there any particular like Bowie songs that she gravitates toward, or?
Not too much. It's just kind of whatever we play, and then like I play some of them on, like in my sets.
Yeah. What do
so
you
like
play?
5 Years is one of my current favorites. Just love that song. Yeah. I learned that when he died. I learned, like many people, went and like learned a bunch of Bowie tunes. That was the one, and that. Pardon me, I used to do that. It's a simple song, guitar wise.
Yeah.
And so I learned it pretty quickly, and I love it. And it's not just kind of apocalyptic. It is actually literally about the apocalypse, and so it feels very fitting these days.
Yeah.
And so I sing that. I play that in almost all my sets lately.
Is there an introduction when you sing it?
Well, it's funny you say that, because I'll play it by myself, but I have been playing with Teresa Esguerra, who plays with Prison Bitch. I don't know if you.
Cool. Yeah.
She's a great friend. She's also Jasper, my son's piano teacher, and she plays with all these other bands. I met her when she played with Floozy, which was an Americana band, and we did a project together. It was like this group of women played all these Americana tunes, and Teresa is awesome, and I love her. And she kills that. There's that really sparse, classic, that intro, and she nails it. And so when I play it with her, I'm like, this is the song. You got to do that.
Yeah.
And Teresa, so it's really fun to play it with that. That's the intro.
Because it kind of makes the song.
It completely makes the song. Yeah.
I mean, that's a deliberate choice.
Yeah.
By either David Bowie or Who's the producer?
Woody Woodmanson, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely perfect. Even the sound of those drums, they're very dryly mixed.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's fun to play with her. She's playing with the FAQs these days.
Awesome.
I feel like the luckiest girl around. Yeah, it's great. It's really great.
Might I add that Floozy is a great name for a group.
I know.
Yeah.
Floozy, well, God, are they still playing at all? I know their lineup changed a little bit, but now I think they don't exist at all, which is too bad. Yeah, they were a really fun band. I liked them a lot. They had a great sound. Yeah. And I like them all individually. Is like they're all doing other things now, and they're all awesome.
Sweet.
But now I'm playing with Teresa.
Yeah.
So I'm like, see ya, Floozy.
Yeah, see you later.
Yeah. No,
You know, I think that's the most exciting thing is when there's a group of musicians that, you know, for whatever reason, they just part ways. And
Yeah.
They just create their own projects.
Yep.
And their own projects are equally exciting. You know?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool the way that works out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and I see so much of that in the Albuquerque music scene, you know, just like the disintegration and reformation.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this lovely evolution. It's like an amoeba, you know, like
Yeah.
breaking, I don't know, maybe not. But just, yeah, there's so many great projects.
Yeah. Did you go to that? I didn't get to go. Is that like that lottery?
Band
thing that
Lotto?
happened?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So we should give them a shout out. People should go to see the show, which I believe is the 20th. And it's a
Yeah.
fundraiser for Gatas y Vatas, which is an amazing women's
Yes.
experimental music
Yeah.
little festival. Marisa DeMarco and a number of other women, but I think Marisa's really been a lot of the driving force. And
Yeah.
and I would have loved to be involved in that project, but I'm actually on deadline this month, and I got a million things, and so I was just like, I was like this close to going and putting my name in that hat, and I just couldn't do it. But the show is the 20th, and go and like pitch in $5 or whatever, and it goes towards this cool festival.
I'm totally going to that.
Yeah, I'm
It's
going to go
be-
for sure. Yeah,
It's such an interesting and just a great concept.
absolutely.
I love about it.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm really sad I missed it. I don't even know. I might have been up in Taos that weekend.
yeah,
I definitely was interested in doing it.
yeah.
Oh well. Next time.
Dang it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a number of my friends are in, you know,
Cool.
and it was just fun. They posted like these cool Polaroids
Yeah.
of who ended up with whom that night. It looks like it's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
So they learned the songs, I think, in 2 weeks, and
And they're all their own songs, or
I wasn't sure about that. I couldn't remember if it's like they've got them, if it's like a part of the thing that they have to make them up, or if they can just learn some covers. I don't know. Either way, it's going to be awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone go.
Exactly.
All 20 of you listening.
Yeah,
please
right,
go.
right. So do you broadcast this live or no? Is this
No, it's all pre-recorded.
pre-recorded and then uploaded? Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we were talking about how, you know, people start sort of poppy, and then as
Yeah.
they become, as they turn, you know, get into adolescence, they form their own taste in music. Maybe things change, and maybe it's later in life. Maybe it's college.
Yeah.
Is there a song that maybe comes to mind that you know was like some pivotal moment that changed things for you and your tastes?
Yes. And like I had to think about it. I'm like, what is it? And then it just came to me like plain as day, which is so interesting. These were good questions. Because yeah, so, you know, all this Beatles stuff when I was like a preteen. And then I was a kid of the 80s.
Yeah.
And so that was like kind of some really lame music,
And
although
how was that for you? Like, what sort? Were you like a new wave person?
new wave person.
You weren't like a metal person.
No, I wasn't a metal person. I was like a new wave person, you know, then bridging into rock like the Cars and but you know, like Depeche Mode and Psychedelic Furs and like that kind of stuff.
Great
English
stuff.
beat, which I still listen to that. In fact, I've been
Yeah.
listening to a lot of English beat lately in the Clash and like
Awesome.
yeah, that is a foundation and I love that. So there was some, but like on the radio, okay, we didn't have like the internet and like you didn't have as much control over what you listened to back then.
Right.
And a lot of what was on the radio was just fucking awful.
Yeah.
You know? So then fast forward to what was it? I guess I was in high school and the song, what was your question? Like what, something that changed it? I was at
everything.
some party, I must have been like 14.
Was it one
15.
of your first, like high school parties?
It was, yeah, it was like, you know, some rich kid party. I grew up in the suburbs of Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And, you know, some nice, actually, this was in the city of Milwaukee, this nice party, a bunch of high school kids. And
Remember the kid's name?
I do, but I'm not going to say it. But it's funny because it's funny. It's just funny for many reasons. But
Yeah.
anyway, because he came up recently in thoughts and thinking. But there was this party, and the song "Casey Jones" by the Grateful Dead played.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, I don't know if I'd ever heard that. May have been the first Grateful Dead tune I ever heard. And I kind of fast forward. I went to a shitload of Dead shows then. I was like a little teenage Deadhead for
No way.
several. Yeah, I went and I traveled some, and I wasn't like somebody who followed the Dead.
Sure.
But then I would go with friends, and we did travel to a few places, and I saw them like Hampton, Virginia, and I saw them in California, and definitely Alpine Valley, which Alpine was like a really great. It was kind of like the Red Rocks of the Midwest.
Oh, wow.
It was this big outdoor amphitheater, and when there wasn't a Dead show there, it was like kind of probably a white people resort of like golf. In fact, there was a golf course. But when the Dead shows came, and they would do like 3 in a row, it'd be camping all on these nice golf course lawns, and it would just overtake this little town. What was the name of the town? I know I'll remember, but it was like a teeny town. It was about half an hour outside of Milwaukee. So anyway, Casey Jones at this party was like, oh, and just that really distinctive Jerry Garcia guitar sound, and riding that train high on cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed.
Sure.
I was never like into cocaine or anything, but it was like, huh?
What are they talking about?
What's this world?
Yeah.
What's going on? And what's that crazy hippie guitar sound? And it was really intriguing. And then I started listening to a lot of Grateful Dead. I listened to and so that was like a whole kind of Grateful Dead thing. And I still love the Dead.
Yeah.
But it started with that song.
I gotta admit that I don't know why. Maybe just I just had like an aversion to the Dead for some reason.
Many people. It's not just you.
But as I get older,
Yeah.
I'm totally getting it. I
Yeah.
totally understand.
Yeah. Well, musically, they're all just like incredible, like ninja musicians.
Yeah. And so much of the things that I love, I hear a direct influence.
Yeah.
In that music, and so
Yeah.
of course I would like it.
Yeah.
And even just thinking about like their contemporaries, I'm like, well, yeah, they fit right in there. Like,
Yeah.
This Flying Burrito Brothers.
Right. Yeah.
Later Birds.
Yeah,
That sort of
absolutely. Yeah, that because I continue to love that alt country, the Graham Parsons sound, that that twangy desert, the the West Coast thing, and then I'm a Milwaukee girl, and I ended up coming out west, and I really always wanted to come west, and it was that kind of sound, and that and I was just like I should have been born in the '60s. Well, not born, but I should have been a teen. Exactly, there you go, a teen in the '60s.
Yeah.
So that really did. That was a very formative moment.
And I want to hear your take on being someone from out east, and sort of like, what did you imagine the West to be like? What was the draw?
It seemed big and vast and cool. It seemed really cool. I remember I was at a Dead show in Alpine. And I mean, all told, just for perspective, I probably saw, 25 shows or something like that. So it was like a lot of shows, but it wasn't 100 inches of shows. But,
Sure.
but I remember
right?
being pardon me?
But you were a teenager.
When I was a teenager,
That's
up until Jerry Garcia died,
Wow.
basically.
Yeah.
But I still remember, I'm like 15 or 16 or something. And some woman was like, I can't remember why she started talking to me. She's like, "Where are you from? Are you from California?" I'm like, and just in my head, I'm like, can't believe she thinks I'm from California. Like, oh my God, I'm like from the suburbs of Milwaukee. No, it's just funny. The West just seemed like really cool and free and cooler than Milwaukee. Now, Milwaukee's kind of cool. Milwaukee's actually
town.
very cool. And there's a lot of really cool, like, indie artists there, and like, for better or worse, like hipster culture, but like just cool, independent stuff is going on there. It's the Great White North, and that's the thing I don't like about it. It's like very racially segregated, and I think it took me many years to realize how much I really hated that, and that drove me away. Like moving to big cities where it was more integrated, or here in New Mexico where it's not like this super white normative society, and I feel more comfortable. Like I don't know. So those are the good and the bad of Milwaukee.
Like a sort of weird, like underlying, like but palpable sort of hypocrisy, sort of like like, oh, we're open, but those people need to be in their neighborhood.
I like to describe Wisconsin and Milwaukee as it has a history of progressivism.
Yeah.
You know, but it's progressive for white people. Is kind of how it goes. Now, you know, we're in a really crazy point in our national history right now, and it's very interesting to see. Like, I wonder if these suburban white people that I grew up with, who just kind of think the world should look like a J. Crew catalog, are going to. It seems like right now we're at this moment where they're going to fall on one side or the other. On one, they could fall towards like the neo-Nazis and the Nazis, like oh, it's okay now, I can go out without a hood. I'm going to like go. Yeah, this is how I felt all my life. I'm going to embrace that. Yeah. I would like to think, and I kind of do think, a larger number of people are going to go on the other side. Like that, those aren't the people I want to align myself with.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, are you friends like on social media with the people that you grew up with? Like, do you have any gauge of that?
I am hardly. You know, I'm like, I have a lot of Facebook friends. I've been self-employed for practically 20 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm kind of begrudgingly really on Facebook a lot. Mm-hmm. And you'd be surprised, the conservative types either just don't pipe in, or they're just, I don't find myself, put it this way, I read a lot of friends saying like, oh, I just had to defriend somebody, or I can't believe I saw people posting. And I almost never, ever see that. And this friend base I have on social media is almost all like of a like mind, for better and worse. Yeah. You know, and certainly the election made me realize even more deeply the dangers of siloed, viewpoint, like of, you know, being separate. Exactly. Yeah. So it's not necessarily a good thing, but it just is that way. And it's not because I've blocked them. There's literally, I can think of maybe 2 people that I've like defriended, or because I was like, I cannot stand to see that view. Yeah. It was never like a big calling out. I just never cultivated. So there's a few, and after the election, a few kind of piped in and was like, you know, you got to just accept that Donald Trump's our president now. Sure. And I was like, and they were respectful to me, and I was respectful to them, and that's about it. And I wonder where those people are landing now.
Right.
I hope they're landing. You know, it seems like now the choices are clear. But anyway, that's something I did not like about Milwaukee, the intense white normativity. Yeah. And so anyway, yeah, I don't know. Music, Grateful Dead. How do we get on the topic of racism other than it's just everywhere right now, and it's like an issue.
And, you know, I had a lot of thoughts about it. I mean, recently, of course. I mean, it's on everyone's mind almost all the time.
Yeah.
Anyone that is of a thinking persuasion, that's what people are thinking about. You know, I wonder, I think everyone probably in some way or another is racist, just a little bit. You know?
I think there's a reptilian part of the brain that segments us. You know, there's us, there's other.
Right. And that's okay, but I think it's just how you deal with that or reckon with that.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
That's the difference.
Right.
I think. And some people just sort of embrace it, and I don't know. I just feel like, wow, all you have going for you is things you didn't even really control or earn in any way. Right.
Right.
That's pretty sad.
It is.
Know?
Yeah. And that's something that I think, you know, that's a little bit of the mid. And there's a lot of really, truly cool, inclusive, wonderful, progressive people in the Midwest. Yeah. But you know, it is just so white. It's just like, there's a lot of people who just think that the world around them should look like a J. Crew catalog, and if it's not, there's something wrong, and there's somebody to blame, and it's usually somebody who's not like a white Christian person. Yeah. But no, I think we got on this topic like what I saw the West way, you know, and it was, San Francisco, and I ended up moving there. Not right away. It wasn't the first place I moved. I moved to Seattle because my boyfriend at the time wanted to start this publication there, and that was all right. And it was a little bit more diverse, but it was a kind of an aloof. That was like grunge years. Sure. Everybody was like a little too cool a little too cool for everybody else. Yeah. San Francisco I liked better, but the cost of living became really crazy. And I say this was 2000 that we moved away. It's even so much worse now. The culture wars.
The kind of burst, right?
Yeah, it did burst, and it got a little bit better for like a hot minute, and then now it's just like
it's insane.
It's really, really insane. But then the desert, like was really always appealing.
Yeah.
And it's not the density out there that is so hard to deal with. You said you have a friend out there?
Oh, I'm just saying I have a friend that grew up there. I don't, do you know Leanne or Ratzlaff?
I've met her a couple times, yeah.
Yeah. I guess she grew up in San Francisco, and she was saying
cool.
recently that the house she grew up in, her parents sold it for, I don't know, 200,000, 300,000 maybe now. She said she looked it up recently. And it's like 1.5 million.
Oh, I'm sure. Right?
That's outrageous.
It's really outrageous.
Right?
I just remember Turtle, my husband and I, we weren't married until we moved here, but he was my boyfriend, and he had moved into my house that, he had moved in as a friend of my cousin who was living with me. And then it was this thing where we, on principle, wanted to have our own apartments because, we fell in love and we wanted to be together, but
and
we
you
didn't
were
want
in
to.
the city?
Yeah, we were in San Francisco on the south side in the Excelsior district.
Okay.
So we had a little bit more room. We actually had a house. It was great. But we could never find, and we had such a nice scene there.
Yeah.
We could not find places to move apart, and we kind of wanted to, but we were forced to stay together. And thankfully, it all was completely great because we're really compatible. But eventually, the pressure of all of it, and our landlord started wanting to raise our rent and trying to dick us around. And he did. I mean, he did dick us around, and kind of messed with the wrong person because I had a legal background, and I started out really nice, like, hey, dude, there's rent control ordinance, there's just cause. Here's the printout of what just cause means. You can't really kick us out. So anyway, we sued them. We reached a settlement, and that's how we moved to New Mexico.
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice. It was great, and we moved here, and like I said, I had been here for law school, so I knew that I liked it.
Yeah.
And we still really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I really have high hopes for Albuquerque, especially.
yeah, I think it's a challenging time right now. There's like the crime issue, and everybody's upset about art, and and the homeless seem to be in a bad place. Like it's worse for them, and God knows why. I'm not exactly sure why. Does it seem like the homeless are more displaced and like there's more people who are homeless? I don't know because I'm not in that realm of knowing how to solve those problems. But
I mean, I'm sure
I feel we're
Susanna
gonna
has not helped that situation. I mean, that whole
No.
mental health debacle.
that was such. I cannot believe that happened.
Yeah.
That whole scandal.
And how
And
people
there-
aren't like more outraged about it.
Exactly.
I mean, it's so obvious.
And that there aren't more consequences and accountability for how she could have pulled that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really bad deal, and I'm sure that has to do with some of what we're seeing.
Yeah.
But I think whatever. I think we'll turn the corner.
I think so too.
Because there's a solid community here, and people really care, and people really love it here.
Yeah.
And I love it here, and I'm trying to be more involved, and I keep missing meetings, but then I keep going to meetings too.
Yeah.
I just I try.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long is it going to take? I don't know. It'd be nice when art is done.
Yeah,
Just to get that off of everybody's mind of upsetness.
Exactly. I mean, part of me is sort of like a similar thing where someone made this joke about how people get really angry when Facebook makes an update to their user interface.
Right.
For about a day.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, what's happening with the sidebar? Why are the buttons changed?
Right.
And then after about 3 days, people just totally forget about it.
Right.
And that's kind of what I'm hoping happens with art is that all the cones will be gone.
Yeah.
And traffic will move smoothly.
Yeah.
And people will start using it.
Yeah.
And then after about 5 years, everyone will be like, "Oh, well, this is."
I'm hoping for that, and I've said that to my family too, because my kids, kids, they're like, "Oh, art sucks." And my son, art is tearing the city apart. He's 7, and I'm like, listen, it might be great. I do think it was botched horribly. They did a terrible job.
Right.
And also maybe a very corrupt job, very possibly. I don't doubt any of that, but I'm just going to hope that maybe 10 years from now we look back, we're like, God, that was a nightmare, but look how cool it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, I'm an
optimism.
optimist. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not ruling it out. I'm not ruling that out at all.
Yeah.
Because I would love to love it.
Yeah.
It's just not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm not there quite yet. Now I'm just still kind of cursing with everybody.
Sure. Especially with what I understand is your commute every day. Just trying to cross Central is probably
Exactly.
somewhat challenging.
I just don't cross the river. I never try to cross over to to the other side of Central because I live really close to Central, but I'm not on Central. I'm closer to Lomas. I'm just north of Lomas.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but you know, cheers to Albuquerque. It's a cool place. We've been here a long time,
and I really, I mean, I grew up in Santa Fe. I love Santa Fe.
Yeah.
If I could, I'd probably live there maybe half the year.
Sure.
When it's too hot here.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Wouldn't that be perfect?
You know, I love all my friends there. But you know, I love the underdog aspect of Albuquerque.
Me too.
And
I do too.
yeah.
It's people are just real. People accept each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's friendly. Nobody's in too much of a hurry.
Yeah.
I like that. It feel, you know, as like an older musician, I didn't start playing out until, you know, I was like I was 40.
Oh wow.
You know, and like I don't know, like the music scene was not too cool to just like be really nice to me and supporting, you know, because it was like a little like I don't know, just like it was just baby steps. Like, oh yeah, I'll play out here and there, and then I don't know, it was so friendly and people are so supportive, and I just take that as you know, extrapolate from that, and that's my experience with so many different kind of scenes.
Sure, and
whatever
you've
kind of
been
scenes.
in kind of like quite a few scenes.
Yeah, you know, music and the art scene, you know, and people are supportive here, and people want to see other people succeed, you know, generally.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. Kudos.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Cool. So should we hear some Casey Jones?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So I was thinking, is Casey Jones and Touch of Grey, are those the only two radio songs?
That's a great question, because Casey Jones definitely was one that kind of hit the radio a little bit. And then Touch of Grey, you know, was not my favorite era of the Dead. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of like, because I mean, I was a younger, even though I'm like, you know, I feel like I'm old, I was not like a teenager in the 60s. I was a teenager in the 80s.
Right.
And that's when Touch of Grey and that, what was that album? I can't remember the name right now. Yeah, not my favorite era, but those were like some of the few radio hits.
Yeah.
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 I don't know, hits is maybe a strong word, but they got some play.
I mean, I would say they're hits.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Touch of Grey was okay. What the heck was Back to Heaven? That was the album, I believe.
Okay.
I'm maybe remembering it wrong. My Deadhead friends are gonna come after me.
Let's see, Casey. If I can just spell, I think maybe the whiskey has gotten the best of me. Let's see.
That's what it does.
Yep. Here we are. Oh, remastered. Fantastic.
Cool. I forgot about that sniff.
Driving that train, I'm cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed. Trouble ahead, trouble behind. And know that notion just crossed my mind. This old engine makes it on time. Leave Central Station about 8:45. It's Rebel Junction at 17:02 at 9:45. You know it's traveling again. Driving that train, I'm cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed. Trouble ahead, trouble behind. And know that notion just crossed my mind. Trouble ahead, oh, lady in red. Take my advice, you'd be better off dead. Switchman sleeping train, 102 is on the road. two good eyes, but you still don't see. Come round the bend, you know it's the end. The fireman screams and the engine just gleams. Driving that train, I'm cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed. Trouble ahead, trouble behind. And you know that notion just crossed my mind. Driving that train, I'm cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed. Trouble ahead, trouble behind. And you know that notion just crossed my mind. Driving that train, I'm cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed. Trouble ahead, trouble behind. And you know that notion just crossed my mind. Driving that train, I'm cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed. Trouble ahead, you know, trouble behind. And you know that notion just crossed my mind. And you know that notion just crossed my mind.
I have so many thoughts.
Yeah.
Gosh, where do I begin? Well, I want to hear your thoughts. Do you have anything come to mind after listening to that?
I do love that song, and there's such this aura around the Grateful Dead, but you know, it's like I love that I could come back also being once I started playing music and actually like doing like a little bit of recording and stuff like that, and like to appreciate them on a whole other level of how awesome they were, other than just like being able to jam out to them, you know. It's like they're just they really put together some great songs, and they really recorded them well. And then, of course, then the live shows are like incredible. Have you ever seen them live?
No.
Yeah, I mean, if you like were kind of not really in them, why would you?
Yeah.
Amazing live shows. I mean,
I totally missed out.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
It was good times.
Yeah. I have a few, like, one, it sounds like nothing from the 80s.
No.
Which is pretty remarkable. And I'm almost thinking,
right?
Yeah, of course Peri would hear that at a party and be drawn
Be
to
like,
that.
bing, what?
It's so, I mean, it's so different.
Yeah.
Like the mix is really like kind of dry.
Yeah.
Deliberate.
Very, right?
But like funky.
Yeah.
It's almost like a reggae song.
Yeah, right?
You know?
Yeah.
Like, there's something to it.
Yeah.
Is most of that guitar that I'm hearing Jerry playing guitar and singing at the same time?
Yeah, he's doing the leads and singing, and then Bob Weir is the rhythm guitar player.
So he's just doing like the scratchy, like, brink, but
That would be
Jerry's
Bob, yeah,
like
yeah.
lead and singing.
Yeah, and once you see
Holy moly.
that really, what's the term? There's that enveloped, that like real tight, like that real. He's got that sound.
Yeah.
That yeah.
Beautiful. The like bass groove. super
Totally,
great.
they grooved. They
Yeah.
totally grooved.
Yeah.
There was a great documentary that's somewhat recent on Netflix, if you want to check it out, on Bob Weir. Cool. And it's great. He's like an older guy now, but he's not like ancient. He's playing,
Sure.
he's out. There's a really great documentary about Bob Weir. And you know how it is with these bands that have cult followings. There's like Jerry people and there's Bob people and whatever. I mean, I don't know. I thought they all were great, but Bob, he's just like such an endearing, amazing musician. Cool. And it's a really cool documentary, and I'm forgetting what the title is.
Well,
but
on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Yeah, it's quite it's quite nicely done.
So forgive me.
Yeah.
I don't like. So I really just have a glancing appreciation of Grateful Dead. So did Bob Weir ever sing and play, or was
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there were
the
Bobby
distinction?
songs, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and he sang, and
Yeah.
and there were some great ones that he sang.
Interesting.
It wasn't like necessarily a second rate.
Okay.
Catalog.
So they were sort of equally talented.
Yeah, but Jerry was definitely the lead, the main guy, and I don't know, like songwriting wise, if how it broke down. I don't remember, but no, Bobby was definitely a
Cool. Have you ever heard the band Dr. Dog?
no,
By chance?
no, never at all. Like I never heard of them.
So when I was briefly living in Santa Fe in the early aughts, is that what we say?
I think that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They came through. They're from, I think, Philadelphia. They're
Yeah.
a pretty cool indie rock band.
Yeah.
They played at Warehouse 21, and oh my God, they just blew me away. They were just so like, it was almost like
Dr.
seeing-
Dog.
It
I'll
was
have to
almost
look
like seeing Abbey Road era. No. Well, Abbey Road and maybe Let It Be era Beatles.
Wow.
Just
wow.
like this really like, they were just so, they had a groove. They were just so good.
Like a
Just-
deep, soulful. Nice.
And I'm hearing this and I'm thinking, well, of course they probably listened to the Dead too. 'Cause
Right.
There's a lot of that kind of feel to them as well.
Cool.
But you'd really like them, I think.
I'm gonna check them out.
Yeah, they're cool. I think they're still doing stuff
Awesome.
to this day.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny. Like I say, I'm like slow in the draw. You'd be surprised. I feel a little lame. Like I don't listen. I'm slow to listen to new music. Music's a big part of my life, but not in like necessarily like I don't get new releases a lot, and I have not seen Dead and Company. A lot of my old friends were like out seeing, so I haven't seen. I bet it's great. I bet that band is fucking awesome because all those musicians are amazing. But yeah, so I'm not like in the loop, and I haven't followed a lot, you know. So I have huge gaps in my musical. I mean, I'm sure we all do, but
I'm sort of the same way. I'm trying to get better at it. With I figure, well, we have Spotify now, so we have everything at our fingertips.
Yeah.
But my philosophy lately has been, well, there's too much, obviously.
Right.
So I figure if I hear like some inkling of something a few times, then maybe it's worth. Maybe that's like the cream rising to the top in a way. So
yeah, exactly. Sometimes it just takes like a little longer for me because you do have to be a little more discerning. You can't be like chasing everything. Sure. Everybody's telling you. When I say everybody, your actual friends, and then like just media, stuff. You listen to this, and you would go completely insane. So your filtering has to be, and maybe that's just part of like my filtering. Yeah. Like I tune a lot of stuff out. Yeah. And until something's come at me a bunch of times, I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to listen. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, anything come to mind in that way that you've heard recently that's grabbed you?
No, actually, musically, no. Yeah. Turtle, my husband, turns me on to stuff. So the Growlers, I love the Growlers, and they're coming to town. They're coming to Sister in October, and you better get tickets now. And I'm saying that to myself too, because that's going to sell out, and they're really cool. And my friend Matt, who's like ear to the ground like no one else. I listen to him. And so I just have those trusted friends who. And I'm trying to think of who Matt Corson. I used to play in a band with him called the Blurts until he fired all of us. Yeah, but we're fired all. Yeah. No, he reconstituted because he was looking for different sound, and that was cool. And but he's still one of my best friends, and he listens to a ton of music, and he turns me on a lot of good music. And then just other friends. Mr. Gnome was one that I heard of. Like finally, third or fourth time. Where I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen to Mr. Gnome, and they like blew me away. That's maybe one of my more recent, like, then I got into a huge jag of like listening to Mr. Gnome constantly. I did too. I love them. I love them.
I sort of wore their albums out. And I kind of wish I could turn back time or forget about them so that I can re-enjoy their music, because I know it front to back.
Exactly, me too. Stu, my friend Stu, know Stu? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's also a very good friend, and he, of course, he's like ear to the ground as well. Yeah. And I think he has a little to do with me finally listening to Mr. Gnome that I'd heard of. I'm like, who's this Mr. Gnome?
He's responsible for my love of Sparkle Horse.
Oh God, I love Sparkle Horse. That's funny. Stu and I haven't ever, like, I see Stu all the time. Yeah. We haven't connected over Sparkle Horse. No. It's not even like anything like that he did on purpose. Yeah. We were playing a show, my old band Cherry Tempo,
and I didn't even know him at the time.
Yeah.
He was just like the sound guy at what was that play? Atomic.
Sure.
And he had it on, and it was this song. I think it was the second song off of the last album, where there's this like effect on Mark Lynx's voice,
Yeah.
where it's like he's singing, but then there's like an octave higher,
Yeah.
and it's really like it's just really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And I might have asked him, and then that started my love
Right.
of Sparkle Horse. But
Isn't that funny?
yeah.
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 So yeah, we have our trusted filters.
Mm-hmm.
It's
sure.
so much about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not the one to listen. Like I don't know where my friend Matt, how he knows who's coming to town that is good.
Yeah.
You know, and he'll tell me, and I listen because I'm like,
Yeah.
you know,
'Cause
okay.
he knows.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a winning track record. So I'll go to those shows, and same with Stu.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
I love his unique handshake.
He has many unique things about him. That Stu. God love him.
Well, I've never heard the Growlers. Maybe that.
Yeah.
Could that be our pick? Maybe for recent.
Well, I actually have a different one.
Okay. We'll hear the growls there.
And I don't even know songs. I'm at that point, you know what I mean? That's where I'm
Yeah.
at with the Growlers. I just know, when I hear them, I know who they are, but I don't know them by song. But no, are we ready for the third pick?
If you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Because with number one, I'm excited because I didn't know we were actually listening to the songs.
Oh, cool.
That's a super treat.
Yeah.
It's a super treat.
That's the power of podcasts.
Right on. I love it. So, yeah. So then the more, and it's not even super, super recent. And once you get into recent, I mean, there are really, it's tough to pick.
It doesn't have to be like real time.
Right.
Like recent. It's just recent to you.
It's just one of my
you know?
favorite songs. So my more recent kind of obsession band, you know, you like your favorite band, is Giant Sand. And the lead guy of Giant Sand is Howe Gelb.
Okay.
And I could go completely back and forth whether I would say Giant Sand's my favorite or Howe Gelb's my favorite. But Howe Gelb's the songwriter and the guy behind Giant Sand. I've gone to see them live all kinds of places, all over I've seen them in Europe, and I've seen they're amazing, and I love them, and I love him.
Yeah.
And they're based out of Tucson.
No way.
Yeah, and I think the last time I saw Howe play solo was in L.A. last September. He was opening for John Doe and Exene Cervenka.
Oh,
they
wow.
they were touring on John Doe and Exene, and so he was opening, and that was amazing. But anyway, previous to that, I think was his Coincidentalist album, and there's a song called The Coincidentalist, and that was the song. And it's okay. I was just today, an old friend was asking me, what was that band you mentioned the other day? Because we had this conversation. I'm like, yeah, you totally love them. And I sent him, I'm like, they've got, 50 albums apiece. It's just since the early 90s of Howe Gelb and Giant Sand albums. So I gave him like a list, and it was fun today to do that. It was just talk about a coincidence. My friend was asking me, and then I had to be thinking about these songs.
Oh, that's great.
It was, yeah. And there's too many to choose from. There's early era, there's mid era, and just for context, if you or anyone else, so Calexico, a lot of people have heard of Calexico.
Yeah.
That was the drummer and the bass player of Giant Sand, but then they moved on to, so now there's a new bass player and drummer.
Okay.
But so there's that
kinda
connection.
split
There
a
was,
little bit.
yeah, exactly. There was an overlap there, but Howe is just one of my favorite musicians. And it's funny, sometimes I've thought about like what has drawn me to them as a band and to him as a musician. And a similar thing to Grateful Dead in a way, in that there have been so many, this isn't exactly a parallel, but there have been so many incarnations of Howe and Giant Sand, and like the freedom of which projects have evolved and emerged all around,
Sure.
just totally free flowing.
Yeah.
And there's something about that has always really, that I just love.
Well, it sounds like he's very prolific.
He's
Is that-
super prolific, yeah.
Is that an aspect that you
Yeah, and just trying different styles and different things, and yeah, it's a little different from the Dead, but also just this a vibe and an attitude of free flowing and going where
Wherever the muse
where it
takes
goes.
you.
Yeah. And I love that. It's freeing, and it's cool inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of my favorite people also do similar things. It's just like, And it maybe just goes back to the Beatles for me. Because
Yeah.
they definitely did that for sure. It's
Absolutely.
Like whatever they're into at the moment,
They
gonna
really
write
explore.
that kind of song, you know?
Yeah, crossing genres, crossing
Yeah.
new member. Well, now Beatles didn't have new members, but Giant Sand, that's something that it's like all these different projects with different, like if you know M. Ward and Howe's played with everybody,
No way.
Nico Case, Victoria Williams, M. Ward. I think he was the original guy who kind of put M. Ward on record.
No way.
Yeah, and he's coming to town too.
I should see him.
Yes, you should see. He's playing his sister, I believe. I'm really excited for that. There's some tickets that we all got to get
Yeah.
before it's too late. I'm excited because it's
Cool.
been a tiny bit dry. I haven't
I don't know,
seen
it's,
it.
It's picking up this fall.
It's
there's-
definitely picking up
there's
this
too
fall,
many
so I'm
good
excited to
shows.
see some shows.
I need to get a second job maybe to like
Right?
buy tickets, be able to.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It's a little bit crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
even just stuff like at Sister specifically, and also at the opera up in San Diego.
Yes.
They're just
Somebody just played there that I missed. Who was it? I know Nico Case played there, and I've
Mm-hmm.
seen her live several times, and I did not see that show.
Yeah.
That was like a couple of years ago, I think.
I was-
But there are some pop, not pop, but there are some non-opera bands that have played there that I've missed, and I kind of kick myself.
yeah. I was bummed that I missed Waxahachie.
Oh, yep, yep.
I
They
was-
played at the opera?
Well, not
Or
the
was
opera,
that
but
Meow
was
Wolf?
Meow
They
Wolf.
played at Meow Wolf, yeah.
But I didn't even know until the day after. And
I know.
My friend Jasper had gone, but he talked about another band that opened for Waxahachie called Snail Mail?
Snail Mate?
Snail Mail.
Snail Mail.
Yeah, like the opposite of email, I suppose.
Right.
And he showed it to me, and I was just something about it. First off, the thing to know is that the lead singer gal is 17 years old
Shut up.
and just destroying.
Wow.
Just like
God, I love that.
something about her sensibility, just her guitar choices in
Yeah.
particular. Oh man, I mean, it was almost like she almost took me back to being 17.
Yeah.
But
Oh
then
man,
her songs are
that's
just really good,
that's the
too.
kind of stuff that gives the chills when somebody just that talent is just coming at you.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's cool.
You should check them
Snail
out.
mail. Yeah.
Snail mail.
Cool.
And actually, I don't know how you feel about this, but I'm a big fan of Spotify. I think some musicians maybe aren't. But,
Yeah.
I like it just because, oh my God,
Yeah.
we have the world's music at our
Exactly.
fingertips.
No, I understand
Yeah.
the thing against. I just don't use it because I actually don't stream a lot of music, and my like
Yeah.
musician like my friend Matt and like Stu like. How, where do you listen to? I don't know. I just listen. I listen in different ways. So
Sure.
I don't really use it, and I understand both sides. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way. Absolutely, because it's very cool that you can look stuff up and listen to it.
Yeah.
And it's inspiring.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, if you're gonna listen to them, there's like two versions of her collection, her only collection of songs. There's like the album,
Yeah.
and then like a live, sort of recorded version.
Yeah.
And the live performances, I mean, the album is cool because it has a definitely distinct like lo-fi sound.
Yeah.
But you can just tell like they've been touring, and it's just
Cool.
so much better to hear their live performance. So
I'm gonna check that
anyway,
out.
Snail mail.
Snail mail.
So, if you had to choose a song to introduce someone like me who doesn't know Giant Sand
Yeah.
that well,
The song that just currently I love a lot is called "The Coincidentalist."
the coincidental. you
It's
mentioned
Howe
that,
Gelb.
sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Howe Howe
Okay.
Gelb
God, I know that
Gelb, and I know it's on various streaming platforms.
Oh, that's not it.
And Andrew Bird, if anybody's fans of Andrew Bird, plays the violin in this.
Oh my God.
In one of the most beautiful short. You want it. It's kind of like there's a song you just want it to go on forever. It's just so. I just want to live in that moment for a really long time. He plays that, and there's an omnichord in it, and the sounds are delightful.
Ooh, delightful. There it
Delightful
is.
sounds.
All right, everyone. The Coincidentalist by Howe Gelb. I always thought it was. I've only read it. It's like those words that you don't really know how to pronounce.
Right.
I always thought it was Howie,
Howie, yeah, right.
but now I know.
believe in the coincidentalist? Can you conceive of the perpetual? Will you take your leave of the eventual? Are you a realist? A realist? I'm here to help with song. I can clear the calendar some and prepare to be instrumentalist in the coincidentalist. Coincidentalism. Hey. All together now.
Cool.
Love that song. Yeah, when Andrew Bird starts playing the violin in that, it's just
Yeah.
it's like that's the moment that where I'm
Yeah.
like, let that just keep going.
Well, you could loop it, maybe?
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I love the weird, I think it sounds like it's a whammy pedal. Like gone all the way to one extreme. It kind of has this weird, like, broken up digital sound to it.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting in the context of this song and this recording that, I mean, you feel like you're in the room with them.
Yeah.
That it's like a live recording. But
Yeah.
then there's this weird digital, like, effect in there.
Yeah.
Just kind of messing with you.
It's like it's
Cool.
it's control and chaos pulled together.
Sure.
That to me is
Yeah.
like the best way to describe almost all of Howe Gelb's music.
And, like, very playful.
Very, very.
Like, I love the ending.
Lyrically too, you know,
Yeah.
like there's not a lot of lyrics in that particular song,
Uh-huh.
but he's an amazing lyricist. I mean, like, you
And
know,
you can tell, there's play on words for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like a philosophical bent.
absolutely, yeah,
Awesome. I love the end sort of just, you could hear me chuckle for a moment.
Yeah.
Just because there's like this guitar solo, and all of a sudden out of nowhere there's
these bells. I know.
It's so silly.
Absolutely. He channels that in live shows as well.
Cool.
And he goes out on a limb, and sometimes that limb breaks, which is fun to see. I mean,
Sure.
he does. And you
Yeah.
never know. And I've seen shows that have been like, sorry that didn't work out, you know, but then more often it's
Yeah.
like, just exhilarating to watch.
But you gotta love the people that sort of push whatever their thing is to that
Yes.
extreme.
Yes.
Someone comes to mind that, like, I'm a fan of this guy, Tim Kinsella.
I don't know him.
He had a, you know, he just sort of, I had an emo phase in this, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. He was in a band called Cap and Jazz, and then in a later band called Joan of Arc.
Okay.
But he's one of these people that just is a total, like, he's just him. He's just himself.
Right.
He's just a kind of an iconoclast, and he just doesn't really care if it even sounds good.
Right.
He just wants to create, and I think that's really admirable and pretty incredible that there are people like that are pushing it a little bit.
That's what makes the world really fun and cool.
Yeah.
You know, and it makes me want to do more of that.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we don't do that, God, how boring.
Sure.
Right?
And
We
what
all need to
brave
do a
way
little
to
bit.
Be, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if I have it in me. I'm still trying to just write a great pop song.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I think we all have it in us in a certain level, you know, and then some people can go farther and have it continue to reach people. I mean, like if I went farther, it'd be like, Peri, bring it down, you know. But, you know, but I can go a certain way within that, you know, and that's how, and you do, I'm sure we all, you know, you go that little extra way.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not as far as somebody else.
Sure.
But that's the flavor.
Yeah.
You know,
And I think definitely these people probably have earned the right to almost push it in a way. You know, you don't get there overnight.
No.
Like Radiohead is a good
Yeah.
example. I mean, and the Beatles.
It's honed. Yeah. It's like
they paid their dues.
Yeah.
They had pop hits, and now they get to do what they want.
Yeah.
So good on them. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Do you want to? Are you ready? Do you want to play a little something for?
I mean, after listening to these like amazing songs, it feels like oh, now we're gonna listen. But I mean, I would. I came with a song. I didn't know we'd be listening to the songs. So
okay.
I feel like it's not going to measure up, man. But you know.
Well, who knows?
You know.
I don't know.
Well, it won't because it's not a produced song that we just listened to.
Well,
but it is
with the caveat that guys, just imagine it's produced. Produce it in your mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when I play this song when I played this the other day with the current lineup of the FAQs, dang, it was fun. Yeah. And Teresa really helps. You know, well, I'll play it and you'll hear it. It's like rhythmically, there's a rhythmic drive that Teresa just fucking lays down, which is awesome. And then the last time we played, I played with Ben Jones, who plays on fiddle.
Oh, cool.
He's blue fiddle guy, if anybody knows him. He's really awesome. And we played together like a couple times here and there, oh, you know. And then just life, it got in the way. And I'm so glad I reached out to him this last time because now I'm hoping it sounds like we're going to play more together again.
Awesome.
Yeah, which is great. And then I played with my friend Carol, who sang, and Stu, actually, who played some guitar. Yeah, and Stu and I play just on and off all the time, and I love playing with Stu. So anyway, it was fun to play with these people. And Teresa knows the song better than anybody because she's played this with me the most, and she adds she lays down the rhythm, which is great.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to play it for you today, it'll just be me. So you can imagine the rest around it.
Yeah. Produce it on your own.
Yeah, right?
With your own backing track.
Exactly. Imagine the production.
Yeah.
So should I get my guitar? Should I do it now?
Sure. Maybe I'll just pause for a moment and then we can maybe set up the mics or something.
Heart that's turned to stone, fractures like bone. You think you're so big and strong, but you're getting strung along. The older in you go, the more the fault lines show. No matter how hard you are, you can fall apart. Everything you know has fault lines to and fro. Hit them in just the right spot with everything you've got. Blow up the sun, the planets will scatter. Break my heart, I'll turn to formless matter. No matter how hard you are, you can fall apart. Even steel can shatter. That's cool. Listened to it and played it, and I wish I could beatbox it, but no.
For those who, we just had to change a few things.
Sure, no, I know.
I was just asking Peri if she could beatbox the drums because I just interested in hearing what her friend drummed, but yeah.
I'm hoping to record that and a few songs. I've got like a bunch of songs that I have never properly recorded, and it's like time. Do you have recordings? Do you have like an album or anything like that?
I have a couple. It's been a long time since I've I did one kind of thing. The most recent thing was just it was when my daughter was still really little.
Yeah.
And I just recorded all in my garage, like late at night.
Sure.
And just through the wonders of technology, just
See, Turtle does that. My husband, he's like good about. I'm the type of. I think there's two types of people in this world: people who enjoy recording and people who don't.
Yeah.
And I'm not against it, but I just don't. I find it frustrating.
Uh-huh.
And so
Why?
I don't.
What was the frustrating thing? Like, is it that you're not hearing what's in your mind? Or?
Kind of, and it's just like, well, for one thing, to do it by myself, it's too much back and forth between figuring out the technical issues and then like trying to kind of get into the mindset of the song.
Yeah.
And, Turtle, my husband, who is technically, he's an AV guy. He's a video, he's a video producer.
So he just knows.
He just knows and he just does it. And, and he's got a good ear and he's picky enough to make it, to kind of commit to a good sound.
Yeah.
And he'll do it. And for me, like when I self-record, I've done a little bit and it's just, I get so, I just lose the feeling.
Sure.
Like, I'm like, I just don't want to be like
so
singing
hard.
it anymore.
It's so
I'm like,
tedious,
it's
right?
tedious, exactly. And I just kind of lose the feeling.
Yeah.
Is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
But I mean, when someone else I've done a few little bits of recording and, when someone else is doing it, it's better. But I just get impatient and I need to just be patient and just
I really love it.
groove with it.
It's also like, I've gotten like a system down that is speedy.
Yes.
Which I think really helps.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm just cheating a lot too. Like Susie, my partner, she got the way that it was possible in the garage is that she got me an electric drum set.
Yeah.
And then I just ran it through GarageBand.
Right?
And there's this plugin that has basically like real sounding drums. So whatever I'm playing, I can make it sound like Led Zeppelin if I want.
Nice,
Right? So
nice.
It sounds awesome in the
Right.
headphones.
Exactly.
So that's how I did it.
And you have a
God bless
recording
them.
and I don't.
Yeah.
That's the that's the difference. So I'm trying to, and it's also just lifetime.
Sure.
Like with an 11 and 7-year-old. Like I feel like now we're they're both fully in school and everything.
Totally.
We've just
Little
gone
bit
through a lot
easier.
of stuff as a it's just trying to get on some stable ground.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe this is the year I'd like record some stuff.
You think you're there on a little bit more of a stable place?
I
to do it?
I do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who do you think? Is there someone? Because I'm so out of the loop.
Yeah.
Is there someone that you're hoping to record with in town? Like
Who would like do the recording? Well, it's funny because like the obvious, easy, and cheap thing is my husband, but I think recording is not a good marital activity.
Oh, sure.
It's
Yeah,
not.
you don't want to do technical things with your
Right?
partner.
I mean, we do projects together and we've done, he helps with like podcasts and video casts and stuff like that, but then record. Yeah, I think, and he's great. He's awesome. But so I don't think it's like healthy for. So I don't really want to do it, even though I know he'd do a great job. And I'm not saying I wouldn't do it with him, but I just think it'd be better not to. So I don't know. There are a few people, including my good friend Sage. Sage recorded Meredith's album, Meredith Wilder, who I'm sure you know Meredith. She's
heard the name.
amazing.
Yeah.
She's truly amazing, and she lives up in Boulder. And I think we might all be going up to visit her soon. A bunch of musician ladies for like a music getaway, which is really exciting. Yeah, we did this project all together. Sage, me, Meredith. And Christy and Steph, who play in Cactus Tractor.
Okay, yeah.
That was the kind of the group that did it. And it was really, really fun. I think we're going to get together for a weekend. Anyway, Sage recorded Meredith's last album, I believe, that I'm aware of that she released. It was beautiful. Sage did a really great job. And Sage is great, easy to be around, and we know each other well. So, Sage.
Yeah.
I've talked to her a little bit about it, so I might hit her up.
Yeah.
And then, and then there's like going to like a studio like Frogville or something like that. But
Right.
I feel like I would have to have my shit together more. And I'm not quite there yet.
I have a good friend that is currently recording. My friend Amado, who I'm playing with soon. Him and his brother have a group called Soulfire that
Cool.
they've had forever and ever, and they're recording at Frogville right now. And
Everybody
it's-
loves Frogville, and I
Right.
hear the results, and I can tell why.
Yeah.
I've never been up there, but it sounds like they've got a good deal.
Yeah, and it seems like it's pretty affordable.
It's affordable. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not free.
Yeah.
But it's affordable. It's like a commitment, and then it's kind of nice also, I think, to have that level of financial commitment, because then it just forces you to like take it seriously,
Sure.
be ready,
Yeah.
Get your
group
and go
in a
do
group.
it. Right. And so I kind of believe in that. It's like
Yeah.
throw a little bit of money at something, and it'll kind of force you to get your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't wait to hear the results.
Thank you.
Once you do it.
Well, now these FAQs I've been playing with, I could tell you, it was really fun getting ready for that little fundraiser, and hopefully we will continue. We're trying to like play every week, and it's this transition in the school year, so everyone's been a little busy, but hopefully it settles into a groove.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I want to make time in my life for music.
Yeah.
I want to just
It's
like commit
important.
to that. It's important, I think. To be a human being, to do something that makes you feel fun and like you're making something happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's probably the closest to meditation that I'm
Yeah.
personally I get to, is like being on stage and singing a song.
Right.
Because it's just second nature.
Right.
When it's good. I mean,
Now, what do you play mostly? Guitar?
I sing and I play
You
guitar.
sing and play guitar? It's the same deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Cool.
It's super fun.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, music. It's like,
Music is wonderful.
It's like Almost Famous. Where
Right.
he's in the top of the roof, and he's like, "I love music," and no one's really into that.
Right.
But I agree with that. I'm the guy clapping for "I love music."
Right. You're the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's everyone else is clapping for "I'm on drugs." Also respectable, I suppose.
Right. Well, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah. I'm on beverage right now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We had a little glass of whiskey.
Yeah.
That was
delicious.
That was perfect. I had just the end of a bottle. I was like, I'm going to bring that to the podcast.
Yeah.
It'd be silly not to.
It would be silly. All you future guests,
Yeah.
don't be silly.
Don't be.
Yeah. It's a big
But
deal.
it's really fun to talk about music too, and I'm glad we got to listen to it as
Yeah.
well, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I'm so happy I got to hang out with you.
Likewise.
Talk.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. I guess maybe the last point of order is I have every guest say a really silly phrase. Say, "Stay gold, pony boy," however you'd like to say it, and then that'll be that.
Right on. Are you the pony boy? Am I talking to you?
I don't know. I'm not trying to claim the pony boy.
No, that's okay. I just
Maybe
didn't
the
know if
listener's the pony
Is this
boy.
like a directive to you? Is what I was.
No, not necessarily. It could be. However you feel about it.
All right. Stay gold, pony boy.
Perfect. Beautiful. Thanks, Peri.
Thank you.